Something that's not spoken about much for your overall eBay success, one component of the listing, item description. Now this is just one of many videos that I've been doing to focus on the smaller aspects or components of the listing. And while it doesn't seem all that important, your item description can make a lot of difference when it comes to you being seen by your buyer and ultimately making the sale. So let's get to it. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And again, as I said before the intro, this is one of many components that if you do it right, it'll make a ton of difference with your success on eBay. It's something that I've been doing for quite some time, and that is focusing on a quality item description. Now, your item specifics kind of fall in with item description, but I'm only focusing on your item description in this particular video. I will touch on item specifics, and I do have videos already on item specifics, but I think a lot of sellers underestimate the importance of having a quality item description. And there's a number of reasons why it's good to have a quality item description. And we're going to get into that. Let's go into it and let's talk about the things that you need to focus on. And of course, eBay's take on this as well. Your item description is one of the most important parts of your listing because it helps buyers decide whether to buy your item and what to expect if they do. So that means that in the item description, it basically has to consist of more information, pertinent information about the item that you're selling, and more information about the experience of buying this item, the return policy if applicable, and of course any shipping policy that you want them to know about. Just remember, this is your opportunity to sell the item. It's much like being a salesperson on a sales floor, except when you're selling with eBay, you can't talk about the item with your buyer. Your listing has to speak volumes, and it's just not enough to rely on your title. Your title only holds 80 characters, and your item description allows you to add extra keywords and extra supplemental information that you weren't able to just put in that 80 character space. And I think a lot of sellers just really minimize the importance of doing this right. Now, why does eBay have this policy? Well, when item descriptions are accurate and in the primary language of the eBay site the item is listed on, buyers get a clear understanding of what the item is and any terms and conditions related to the item before they buy. So again, it gives them a broader understanding of the item you're selling, the condition that the item is in, okay, your chance to fully explain that or any flaws that may be in the item. And it also gives you a little chance, and definitely you want to do this at the bottom, put any things you want the buyer to know about your maybe your return policy or maybe your shipping policy that you want to be a little bit more clear about. What does a good item description, what components does that have? There's 4 components that an item description should touch on, and that is includes fairly comprehensive details, specifications and condition information, includes information about use or product application, uses basic formatting like bold text and bullet list to organize information, and is concise, readable, and well organized. So your item description should touch on those 4 things to be a relevant item description. And the first one is includes fairly comprehensive details, specifications, and condition information. And that's very simple. You would simply put key information in the listing that discusses what this item is, what it's for, what it's compatible with, and even if it's in new condition all the way down to used or even parts or repair, you want to disclose as much information that you know about the item. And of course, if it's new, you're just going to state it's new because there's not a whole lot more you can add to that. but that gives the buyer a little bit more than just the basic condition that's listed in the listing. Now I'm going to show you an example of this here to show you two items. They have the same information in the item description. One just has basic text, the other one is formatted. And the purpose of formatting your item description is to help the buyer navigate through this information. You don't want this item description to become a sea of words. You don't want it to be a situation where it's a TMI, DNR, too much information, did not read. You don't want to put your buyer into a situation where you've crammed all this text into your item description where it's just unreadable, and then they decide to go ahead and buy your item and they've neglected to see what you've said about the item because it was too hard to read. Then I think sometimes we wonder as sellers, these buyers don't read. But if you look at some of these item descriptions that I've come across, we do it to ourselves. We put the buyer in a position where it's just too much. And they say, you know what, I need this item, I'm going ahead and buy it anyway. Maybe not knowing that there's a part on it that's broken. And yes, of course, the buyer is still responsible to read your listing, but we need, as sellers, to do a better job of making that information as clear as possible and not clear as mud. So as you see here, you have description A, you have description B. Both say the same things, okay? So what you want to do is you want to make a basic item listing template, a standard listing template to what you'd use pretty much for every item so that your listings are pretty much uniform. And I'll go in and I'll make a bold header with big letters, okay? I'll make maybe something that says item condition and put that information in there, and then I'll have another bold one stating item features. And that's kind of what I do. And then any policy stuff that I want them to know about that's not really covered or not really clear in the listing, I may add that down in the bottom. So remember, while we use the item description information to help sell our item, it's the place where the buyer goes to get supplemental information about the listing, so they have more than just a title and maybe some item specifics to look at. They have complete sentences, they have information that helps them understand more about this item, if this item is going to fulfill a need or not. And the last thing we really want to do is put anything that could be negative. You certainly want to put truthful information about your item, of course. You don't want to forget to put that something's broken or scratched or something like that. But you also don't want to go in and just say things that could be detrimental to the buyer's experience. For instance, you don't want to put anything in for like your shipping policy at the bottom of the item description telling someone, if you're a scammer, please don't bother to buy, or if you send something back, we're going to deduct so much money as a restocking fee or anything like that. Those are negative things that buyers will look at and think to themselves, well, obviously this seller has had some problems in the past, and it may just turn people off onto your item, especially if they're considering your item versus maybe another seller's item. Maybe the price points are the same. And negative things like that, even though you're trying to protect yourself and to make it known to the buyer exactly what you plan on doing if there's a scammer or a bad experience, I think sometimes that turns a potential buyer off. So just be careful when you do it. I recently sold this item, and this will give you just a quick example of what my item descriptions look like. Okay, now you can use the red header if you want. That's up to you. That's kind of what I do. And my title and the header in my item description aren't necessarily the same, okay? So I do have the brand, even though it's an off brand, I left it in there. It's not that big of a deal when you're talking about your item description header. And then I go into item condition. This is an open boxed item in new condition. See photos and item description for more information. And I usually copy and paste that into the item condition section, which is why that last sentence is there. Item features. What I like to do is, if there's a blurb there at each bullet point, I like to maybe highlight the first sentence in a long item feature so that it's not hard to read, so a buyer can just look at the listing and maybe see the highlighted parts and they can choose to read through the rest of it or not, but it's going to give them a quick glimpse into what this particular item does. Now, all my items aren't exactly laid out like that. Sometimes what I'll do is when I'm listing, you'll see a lot of my listings look like this. Sometimes when I'm using the app out in the garage and I'm making a listing and I go into my item description, I will utilize the voice dictation feature like on my iPhone, so I can speak into the phone and it'll write out whatever I want it to say. And then later on, I'll go in to my computer or laptop, but usually the main computer, and I'll go in and apply the template and then fix the item description so it looks like the way most of my listings look like. Now there's times where that item will sell before I can get in and edit the listing, and that's fine, but generally this is what I like my item description to look like. And it's not a long novel, it gets to the point, and does highlight key features of the item that I'm selling. Now the benefits of having your item description to where it's clear to read and it provides good information about your item. There's a number of reasons why, above and beyond just the buyer seeing your information and deciding, well, whether or not they want to buy it. Because your argument might be, well, I've been selling with just the standard item description that eBay just inserts there already, and I've been selling just fine. But again, we're talking about trying to improve our sales, and every little thing you do is going to help you get to that place, okay? Because again, we talk about it. There's two reasons why your items may not be selling. Either your item sucks or you're not putting together a complete listing. And of course, it's not really subjective. I mean, from one seller to another, it might seem subjective, but eBay has planted in its algorithm or programmed in its algorithm, Cassini, what it's looking for between your account health, between your title, between what's in the listing, like your item description, and your price and all the other stuff to determine where your item is going to rank in eBay search. Now, eBay's Cassini search engine looks through your description when deciding whether to rank your listing for a keyword. Exactly how it determines rankings is not 100% clear. However, it's a good idea to use each keyword you want to rank for at least once in your description. Be careful to use good grammar and not keyword spamming or keyword stuffing your description if it does not relate to the specific item you are selling. So if you are selling some third-party shoes or some off-brand shoes, don't put Nike or Adidas or any unrelated keywords in your item description in hopes that Cassini is going to pick it up. Because guess what? It will pick it up, and it'll actually lower your listing in ranking because it will determine, and sometimes not even show your listing at all, because it will determine that that has nothing to do with the item that you're selling. This is AI, okay? AI has evolved quite a bit over the last few years. We're talking very integrated things that this Cassini looks for, and if you're trying to trick Cassini by adding words that don't relate to your item, well, you're going to find that's going to be a problem. And again, if there's key features about this item that you want your buyer to know that you weren't able to put in the title, the 80 characters that it gives you, this is the place to do it, to tell them what it is, what it does, what it's compatible with, what condition it's in, okay? And you need to make sure that you are very clear in doing that. If you put together a good item description, many buyers, I'm not going to say all because we all know that's not true, many buyers will see that information, it'll answer any questions they may have, and that's one less buyer that's going to send you a message through the eBay contact system hoping to get an answer. You can provide that answer right in the item description. And here's a little tidbit that you may or may not know. Hugh Williams is a gentleman who helped create Cassini, and he says that it's designed to search all the text in a listing. Cassini looks at all of it. They look at the title, they look at the item specifics, and they look at your item description to look for keywords to help promote your item in best match search. The bottom line is this: do not disregard your item description information, and do not just use what eBay defaults in that item description box. Usually it's the title and the method of shipping that you've selected. Add more key information and make it readable. Make sure that it is relevant to the item you're selling. And yes, it's extra work. I get it. Okay. And ultimately, it's up to you. Maybe you're killing it doing what you're doing. And I would say to you, just keep doing what you're doing. But for the rest of us who are trying to do what eBay wants us to do with our listings, then I would say to take the extra step, add this information to your listings. Okay, if you haven't done so already, maybe it's a matter of you going in and tweaking some things, maybe the appearance of the information you've placed in there. But whatever it is, make sure your item description is up to par based on what we discussed. And that should be, now it's not going to fix all your sales, but it's just one component towards making the perfect listing. Guys, tell me what you think. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this topic. Again, it's one of many components to putting together an excellent eBay listing. And that's what Cassini, the eBay search engine, is looking for each and every time a buyer types in an item that could potentially fit what you're selling. That's what it's looking for to determine your item's rank in its search. You need to get this right, as well as other key factors in the listing that we've either spoken about or we will be talking about in a future video. Please hit that like button. While you're at it, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit that notification bell because when I go live, and as you can see, I'm launching this video. It's being launched on Monday on Labor Day. That means I'm not going live today. Tommy Bernard from the Tommy Bernard podcast brought to my attention at the end of the live stream we did on Friday that Monday, of course, being a holiday, and I thought, you know what? It may not be the best time to do a live because there's a lot of people out and about hanging with family the last holiday of the summer. So I am doing a live on Tuesday afternoon. I'm thinking about 2 o'clock Pacific time, and doing the normal beginning of the week live stream at that time. And I'm launching this video Monday morning, and hopefully you guys can make it. But hit that notification bell and you'll be notified once I've set it all up. Your item description is just one component of a quality eBay listing, but yet just another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent holiday. Remember, no shipping today. If you guys haven't figured that out already, get your items over the weekend shipped and ready to go on Tuesday when the post office is open. And I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your week, and we will talk to you on Tuesday or very soon.